My country bleeds. My country bleeds. My nation weeps. My nation is weeping. My nation, Jamaica, is weeping. Because politics is being played across the board with this hurricane relief. The opposition today made it clear as to the kind of oppression and suppression they are facing with this government. In St. Elizabeth, Zuleika Jess says the protocols that has been put in place are making her and the people in her constituency suffer. Listen to what Zuleika Jess had to say today, Jamaica. Listen to what she had to say today. Listen to what she had to say today, Jamaica. Listen to what Mark Golding. I want to hear what Mark Golding had to say today.
I have proposed to the Prime Minister from last week, Wednesday, that he should establish a broad-based task force to be given the responsibility of governance oversight over the relief effort, the relief coming in, how it is dealt with, how it is distributed. Not to manage that process on a day-to-day basis, but to provide oversight to those who are managing it. So there's some accountability for how it's done, and that accountability is being held by a broad-based group that can enjoy the support and confidence of the whole society, especially those who are suffering terribly now and no doubt fear that they may not be treated fairly or they may be ignored or overlooked in the response of the state to the crisis. I also think there needs to be a clear command structure for the actual day-to-day management of the response to the relief. And that should be led, in my opinion, by professionals in disaster management, not by politicians who do not know the ins and outs of responding to a disaster of this magnitude. And we should not be shy of seeking international support and help from persons who have career expertise and experience in this regard. Thirdly, we're going to need a Marshall Plan, a well-funded, broad-based plan for the rebuilding and reconstruction of large swathes of Jamaica which have been ravaged by this hurricane. That plan cannot be developed today, but it is vital that we prepare such a plan and that it have the inputs of persons who have the necessary skills and experience and knowledge to design a comprehensive, workable plan that can be executed efficiently and that can have the confidence of our international partners we are going to rely on heavily to provide the financial support for this. And in terms of more specific recommendations now, I have asked the Prime Minister to make an additional allocation of resources to members of parliament so that they can mobilize communities and contractors to help with the cleaning up of communities that are currently in a state of devastation, clearing roads where necessary, cutting trees and the like. Until that allocation is made, members of parliament are unable to respond to the needs of the people unless they happen to have some personal resources or access to dealing with it outside of the public system, and many do not have that. I would also say that the process of engaging contractors to do that kind of work should be simplified and made easy for members of parliament, especially in those areas where there's very limited connectivity and where following the normal bureaucratic processes that are required would be very challenging or impossible for members of parliament. If contractors have a TRN, whatever the allocation is, there should be invoices, and those invoices can be submitted, but the work should be able to begin. Secondly, we note and agree with the decision to suspend the imposition of import duties and import GCT on disaster relief items coming into Jamaica. However, we believe that the period for which this has been announced is too short, because the time it takes to mobilize funding and make the necessary procurement abroad, the logistics, etc., of getting it shipped to points on land where they can then be shipped or flown to Jamaica takes some time. And to have it cut off by the end of this month is too short. And it's also not clear from the announcement that was made whether goods in transit to Jamaica will get the benefit, even if they haven't landed here at the time of the expiry of the window. I'm suggesting that we recast that window in a way which is more realistic, given the situation that we face. I also think we need an evacuation plan urgently for persons who are without shelter. That needs to be well thought through so that persons can be moved to places of safety where whatever form of accommodation can be erected to support them, whether it be tents or something else that can be put in place, and they can have access to the basic means of survival in an organized way. And that is necessary because right now we have people, many Jamaicans, who are exposed to the elements, including babies, including children, including the elderly, including persons with disabilities, and they need to be moved to accommodation which protects them from the ravages of the elements going forward.
Jamaica, I'm going to say this to you all tonight. I am bleeding. I am weeping. Jamaica is crying. The government is creating a euphoric moment with these press conferences, creating narratives as though they are managing this well. It's not being managed well, Jamaica. And I appreciate the reports from the international media because they give you the realities of what is happening. They are not taking side, government or opposition, this or that. They are telling you the unequivocal truth of what is happening on the ground. Listen to what Zuleika Jess is saying, what is happening in St. Elizabeth.
The devastation has been extremely great in northeastern St. Elizabeth. And as a member of parliament, I have reached out to the government for assistance in getting persons who are marooned access so that they can actually leave their communities or enter elsewhere. I have been told by the government that as a member of parliament, I cannot engage with private contractors to have their roads cleared or to have their roads put in a place where they can leave or enter their community. And so I have been faced with a difficult decision where I have to choose whether I obey the rules as they currently stand, in which case it means that residents will be left stranded and trapped and unable to leave, even in cases of emergency. People will not be able to have access to food, water. Or I make the other difficult decision, which is to go against the government's dictates and actually engage contractors to put together the roadway as best as possible so that access can be had. I have chosen the latter. And so I hope and I pray that the government will actually make some allocation available to members of parliament in the affected constituencies. I am calling on the government to include the members of parliament, to engage with us, and very importantly, to empower us to help the people who are depending on us because they don't have the numbers for the government ministers, they have the numbers for their members of parliament, and they're reaching out and begging and crying out for help. I'm asking that the government consider making an allocation, particularly to the members of parliament in the deeply affected communities, constituencies, where it's not just a case of clearing the roadways, it's a case of actually engaging professionals who can fill the gaps and the craters and make a way where there is no way, even if it is just on a temporary basis.
Jamaica, you heard Zuleika Jess. Jamaica, I was in Western Jamaica yesterday. And from parts of St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, into Hanover, and when you touch into Westmoreland, it is total disaster. On that entire belt, you don't see any soldiers. You don't see any workers or people attempting to do any work in clearing the roads, cleaning up the place, etc. I took the North Coast. I never got through the South Coast. I took the North Coast, Jamaica. I took the North Coast. And I am telling you, seeing it will leave you with a nightmare. Seeing people's structures down, Ishmael, show them in a Bethel town. We want to say literally, totally ravished. No intervention, no relief centers, no tents, no medical care, no food being distributed. The only time I saw some soldiers were when they were taking up some white people, taking them out of the community. What kind of emergency is this? What kind of emergency is this? Wow, this is Bethel Town in Westmoreland, totally destroyed. Totally destroyed. All of these were bars, salons, barbers, hairdressers, bars, everything gone. The bank, supermarket, everything gone. That is Westmoreland. Is yesterday Westmoreland get little food? After almost 5 days of devastation, and another government it come through, Miss Little Send a container Westmoreland. Miss Little, Jamaica. Send a container Westmoreland. Who do you think I lie? Listen to the British reporter.
Well, we're seeing here in the parish of Westmoreland for the first time the arrival of limited amounts of aid. It's food, it's water, it's products like bleach, all of which are needed, but it's just nowhere near enough. This strikingly is a private donation coming out of Kingston. There's still incredibly no sign of aid or support from the Jamaican government or indeed from international organizations either. So this in no way is enough. It needs to be scaled up. It needs to be mobilized here quickly. We just come from communities up in the hills where people are injured and needing help. We've seen people with deep cuts and gashes, and they say they have no medical facilities to turn to. Everything up there has been destroyed. So I would judge right now that the needs in Western Jamaica are perhaps greater than ever before. At the moment it is literally neighbour helping neighbour as they've weathered the storm. But now comes the much more important task of trying to rebuild infrastructure, repair homes and try and get their lives back before hunger begins to strike here. There's a significant problem here and this is just the beginning of what needs to be a massive relief effort.
You saw that, you see that. Miss Little. I think I will got lady. Miss Little. Send a container Westmoreland. And I was in Westmoreland in Betheltown. Apart from that, the people of Westmoreland, many communities are abandoned. Wow, this is Betheltown in Westmoreland, totally destroyed. Totally destroyed. All of these were bars, salons, barbers, hairdressers, bars, everything gone. The bank, supermarket, everything gone. You hear me say, I'm Miss Little. Send a container go to Westmoreland. A White House. And I'm Miss Little from the hot kitchen. And I am telling you, Jamaica. I am telling you. You're never with her. So what I was down Westmoreland doing? I give away a package. Give a tarpaulin. Make that little grass mite will come over here. I said me never do nothing. Show them Ishmael what we were doing in the rain yesterday night. Yes, Jamaica, we are here in Betheltown, right here in Westmoreland. We have serviced approximately 300 residents here this afternoon. We'll be doing some more. The logistics never really worked the way we want it to work because there's no internet, there's no GPS, there's too much things happening, but we tried our best. We're keeping on this mission. We'll be out the rest of this week to keep the mission alive. Thanks again to the donors, thanks to everyone who assisted. We will be continuing this mission. It is not one time, it's a marathon. So thanks to everyone who volunteered their time, their efforts, to make this happen. God bless you. So Jamaica, There is more being done by the Jamaican people than is what is being done by the government. The government doesn't understand crisis management. The government does not understand how to deal with relief efforts. It's more talking than doing. And I'm going to tell you blatantly, it's politics being played. It is politics 101 being played. Listen to little Nikisha Burchell. Listen to what Nikisha Burchell said happening to the people in southern St. James. If you think I lie, me they tell. Listen to what the people, Nikisha Burchell broke down today at the press conference of the PNP. Listen, Jamaica.
We're not asking because we are greedy. We're asking because the collaboration and the coordination on the ground is not reaching our people in South St. James. When I'm able to bring 2 bags of food like I did last night to the school at Malden High, they were not able to make breakfast this morning because it could only last 1 day. I'm asking you to help us to airlift some food into the communities, to get the sick people out of the homes and into the hospital. We have some pregnant mothers we were able to get to the hospital at Cornwall Regional just yesterday. Her baby was not moving anymore in her belly, right? We have an urgent need in South St. James, and I know everybody is trying. All I'm asking is don't forget South St. James in all of this, because we are proud farmers and we want to get back. We're not asking because we are greedy. We're asking because the collaboration and the coordination on the ground is not reaching our people in South St. James. When I'm able to bring 2 bags of food like I did last night to the school at Malden High, they were not able to make breakfast this morning because it could only last 1 day. I'm asking you to help us to airlift some food into the communities, to get the sick people out of the homes and into the hospital. We have some pregnant mothers we were able to get to the hospital at Cornwall Regional just yesterday. Her baby was not moving anymore in her belly, right? We have an urgent need in South St. James, and I know everybody is trying. All I'm asking is don't forget South St. James in all of this, because we are proud farmers and we want to get back.
You hear there, Jamaica? The people are hungry in parts of St. James. The people are marooned in South St. James. I spoke to Nikisha. I am going to South St. James on Friday. I have to go to Trelawney tomorrow. I have to go back to Westmoreland on Wednesday. And on Friday, Thursday, I'm going to gather up again to go down to Nikisha for Friday. And Sunday, I'm going to be out again. They are evil. They are evil. They are evil. And they are going to pay for the evil that they have caused upon this nation. I am telling you, Jamaica, what I saw in Westmoreland yesterday, I cried this morning. The people were like, sir, I need a hot food. You're not carrying no dinner. I can't go on the missions and don't carry food anymore. So Jamaica, I'm going to tell you this tonight. I'm going into Trelawney tomorrow. I'm going into southern Trelawney. All of that area destroyed. I'm going to meet up and going to southern Trelawney tomorrow. I'm not going to name the areas in South Trelawney I'm going, but I have to get near Jamaica. Wednesday, I'm going back into Westmoreland to do another 500 care package. And I need to reach another 500 care package to assist Nikisha. I'm not doing this for love and likes. I get a truck who volunteers on the weekend, but I have to pay the truck in the week. So if anybody wants to help me offset the truck for the 2 days, when Tuesday and tomorrow I have to find $120,000 to pay the truck man. I'm carrying down hot food for them tomorrow morning. If anybody want to assist in assisting in serving the food tomorrow morning, reach out to me. I need to find food again for Nikisha people on Friday. So if you want to reach out to send some donations to help out on this mission, you think it nice in a St. James? Ishmael, play the video of the woman in St. James crying. You think it nice in a St. James?
Watch this. Guys, watch this. Guys, watch this video. If you don't move by this video, nothing can never move you.
There's no water, there's no food in Montego Bay. There's so much mud, you don't know where to start from. And it's so bad. It's so bad in Catchinall. I think Catchinall is ground zero for Montego Bay. And yesterday, no one come today. I don't see a representative from either party, either from GLP or PNP. I will never vote again in my life. I would never vote again in my life. No one come. Nobody no come. Nobody no come look. I'm leave Montego Bay at 5 o'clock. I couldn't take in more people. I'm boss and they're hungry. People are bad. Yesterday, I have to just cook up. Yesterday, my mother have to just cook out the food and give people in our lane. This morning, my mother cook one big pot of porridge and give everybody with one pack of crackers so I have left back. And I see kids there hungry, no water. I see people that walk, so they're going to catch water soup. Where if you see the color of the water has the same color as the mud. And no one from either JP or PNP come and look for nobody and try to help us. I am disappointed. And the guys I'm in my lane, I can't thank them enough. I can't thank them enough, the amount of people when I see of, you know, the night I stab the youth, them a dive off in the water, see of people. And you could hear the people, them a bounce, so they want help. When I tell me so a woman have a baby above her head and walking in the water, and nobody don't come. Good night, everyone.
Jamaica. Jamaica, you heard that. Jamaica, you heard that. The people are hungry. The people are hungry. I need to cook some more. I have decided to close my kitchen for the rest of November. And I'm going to use the kitchen to cook 3 times weekly. And then 2 other times, I'm going to be doing care packages.